Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I have with me the OMSystem 40-150 F4 Pro. And I want to share my thoughts on this lens in this video. Let's do this! Before we dive in, here are some important disclaimers. I have no affiliation with OMSystem or Olympus. I was the ambassador at some point, but I have left. If you missed that, I made a video to talk about when I left the Olympus Visionary program. I'll put the link to the video up here. Currently, I'm free and I have no connection to OMSystem whatsoever. This lens, OMSystem 40-150 F4 Pro, is on loan from OMD World Imaging, which is a local retailer and official distributor for OMSystem products. Special shout out to OMD World Imaging. Thank you so much for the loan, and I have to return this lens to them after this review. Also, do bear in mind that I am a photographer, I'm not a cinematographer, I don't do video, so I'll strictly be talking about this lens, shooting stills. For information on how this lens performs in shooting video, I'm sure you can find it elsewhere online. I brought this lens out and shot plenty of sample photographs. My conclusion and my opinion are based on these photographs that I've taken, and they are subjective. The OMSystem 40-150 F4 Pro completes the F4 Pro lens lineup. We have the 8-25, 12-45, 12-100, and now the 40-150. The design of this lens is consistent. It is black, sleek, looking professional. The build quality is excellent. The lens is made of metal all around. It feels really solid and reassuring. And of course, the lens is weather sealed. One compelling reason to get this OMSystem 40-150 F4 Pro, it is compact size. For such a massive zoom range from 40 to 150 millimeters, this lens is truly small. It is so compact and it's so light, it weighs only at 382 grams. I think this is the perfect travel lens. It is suitable for those who want to minimize their gear setup. They want it to be as small, as light as possible. Now, there's one thing I don't like about this lens. The lens does extend, it doesn't have internal zoom, and there's a locking mechanism. Once this lens is at its lock position, you cannot take photographs. So when you turn on the camera, you can't just take photographs immediately. You have to unlock the lens first. I think that's a bad thing because when I turn on the camera, I want the lens to be ready to capture any shots on the spot, right? When I see something happening, I want to respond immediately. Having to have one more step to unlock the lens, there's a chance that I can miss the shot. Now, having said that, the handling of this lens is excellent. I've paired this 40-150 F4 Pro on my own Olympus EM1 Mark III. I've tried on my EM5 Mark III as well. Handling is excellent on both cameras. I've been shooting with this lens at the Kuala Lumpur Bird Park for several hours. I feel no strain on my wrist or any part of my hand. I feel no discomfort whatsoever. I've been shooting on the streets as well for several hours. The handling is just nice. The image quality I get from this 40-150 F4 Pro is excellent. The optical formula comprised of 15 elements in 9 groups. It has 2 extra low dispersion lenses, 1 super extra low dispersion lens, 1 high refractive lens, and 2 spherical lenses. I get super sharp results again and again, and the sharpness is consistent throughout the entire zoom range, from wide 40mm all the way to the longest 150mm tele-N. I get sharp results consistently, and the sharpness is already very good even shooting a wide open f4. Of course, the sharpness improves a little bit as I stop down to f5 or f5.6, but I find myself confidently shooting at f4 most of the time with no issue, and it manages to resolve plenty of fine details and very good contrast. The images just look so realistic. There is that three-dimensional look and feel to the images. It just looks so pleasing. I don't know how to describe it. I just like how this lens renders the images, and this quality is consistent with most pro lenses from Olympus. The OMSystem 40-150 F4 Pro also has very good technical flow controls. I see no distortion. I also didn't see any chromatic aberration or purple fringing. I believe some software correction is at play, but to me it doesn't really matter as long as it gives me the results that I want. I see the straight lines to be perfectly straight, no curvature whatsoever, and I don't see any traces of stray colors, whether it's green or purple fringing in high contrast areas. I'm perfectly happy. Flare control of this lens is excellent. I shoot this lens directly against the source of light, the sun of course, with no hood on, and still I get very minimal flare. I think this is excellent, and whatever the source of light is shooting against the lens, it does not affect the contrast or any other quality of the images that I get. Now the bokeh quality is also very pleasing. Of course, I have to be honest, you can't get that much blur with f4. If you want more blur, if you want shallow depth of field, of course, go for other lenses like the 40-150 f2.8 or any of the Olympus f1.8 variant prime lenses. There you get a lot more blur. But having said that, being a telephoto lens, if you zoom far enough, say 100 millimeters, 150 millimeters, shooting a wide open f4, you do get some blur. And the blur area, the quality of the blur, the bokeh, it looks smooth, buttery, creamy. It looks really pleasing. In terms of autofocus, this lens performs really well. It is super fast, super reliable, super accurate. I can get critically sharp focus again and again. I nail my shots confidently. I think this lens performs just like any other pro lenses. I have no issue using it in professional environment. Now I've mentioned I'm not a cinematographer, I don't do video, but I do want to mention a few things. I did shoot this lens for video briefly at the Kuala Lumpur Bird Park outing. I'll put the link to the video up here. Please check out the footage I've got from this lens. And two things I want to mention. Autofocus performance. It is super reliable and super easy to use. I didn't have to do anything. I just point the camera, the lens at the bird, and the autofocus just finds the bird and locks on it. Right? It's so easy. And image stabilization. The lens does not have image stabilization, but the body image stabilization on the EM1 Mark III, it is effective enough to stabilize the footage, giving me a very smooth, professional looking footage. I think that's the biggest advantage of using OMSystem or Olympus cameras. You just get fantastic image stabilization. There are a few things that I don't like about this OMSystem 40-150 F4 Pro. The first one, it is simple. It is f4, and sometimes f4 is not bright enough for the things that I need to do professionally. I do shoot in low light environment, especially events happening indoor or portraits in not so ideal conditions, and f4 just doesn't cut it. F2.8 will be so much more versatile and so much more easier to use, gathering twice the amount of light than what this lens can do. Now, if you don't need the bright aperture, if you shoot in plenty of light, you don't have to deal with low light, or you shoot always under bright sun, then of course this lens will be more than sufficient for you. I do not like the fact that OMSystem did not include two very important features for their Pro lens. The manual focusing clutch, it is missing from this lens. I think the manual focusing clutch can be really convenient if you want to quickly switch from autofocus to manual focus in some situations where you know autofocus will fail. Then there is the lens function button where you can customize as a shortcut to any functions that you want. You can change ISO, you can change from RAW to JPEG, you can customize white balance. You can do a lot with that function button, and I think having that button on the lens, say I can use it to activate focus peaking on and off, that would really help. And these two features are missing. I don't think they'll add a lot of cost. I don't think they'll make this lens any bigger. I just wish that these two features are in this 40-150 f4 Pro. Of course, I've mentioned this earlier and I want to repeat it again. I don't like the locking mechanism. I don't know why it is there. Maybe it's to prevent the lens from extending out on its own. I don't think the locking mechanism makes any sense because you can't use the lens immediately. When you turn on the camera, you need one additional step to unlock the lens, then you are able to take photograph. Like I said, that is able to cause you to miss shots, and I don't like that. Some of you will ask, hey Robin, how does this 40-150 f4 Pro compare to the F2.8 Pro version? Both lenses have many similarities. Both are Pro lenses. The build quality for both lenses are excellent. Both are weather sealed against dust, splash, and freeze. Both lenses also give excellent image quality, super fast autofocus. I think you can't go wrong with any lenses. Now the differences, if you are a professional photographer shooting in low light a lot, and if you want to blur the background a little bit better, then the F2.8 version is the better option. Also, the F2.8 Pro version allows you to extend the reach by attaching teleconverters. Yes, the F2.8 Pro version is compatible with teleconverters, something that this F4 Pro cannot do. Also, the F2.8 Pro version has manual focusing clutch and the lens customizable function button. Both features I think is very important for a Pro lens. Now it sounds like the F2.8 Pro version is an excellent and a better choice, right? So why do we go for the F4 Pro version then? Of course, there's only one reason. This lens, the F4 Pro version, is so much more smaller, it's truly compact, it is lighter. The F2.8 Pro is larger, longer, heavier. If you travel a lot, if you want to minimize your footprint, you want your gear to be as small as possible, then the F4 Pro version is the way to go. And then of course there's the excellent, super budget-friendly 40-150mm F4-5.6 R version. That is really small, very light, made of plastic all around, and it's not weather sealed. It is not a Pro lens. It is a budget lens. For such a cheap and budget lens, it performs really well, but the image quality is nowhere near the Pro level image quality you can get from this F4 Pro lens version. Of course, like I said before, it's not weather sealed. The build quality is made of plastic, so if you use this lens a lot in harsh environment, I'll think that a Pro lens would be more suitable. That's all I have to share about this OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro lens. I hope you've enjoyed the photographs that I've shared. I hope you've liked my analysis. If you found my sharing beneficial, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how you can do that. Any small contribution will definitely help me to continue making content and publish them right here. Please also don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and share. I'll definitely see you again in the next one. Until then, remember to go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.